just so you're aware. Okay. All right, everybody. So, welcome. My name is Vanessa Bertozzi, and I'm a trustee of the Village Board, and I'm Rhinebeck's Climate Smart Community Task Force Coordinator and the chair of our joint Town and Village Environmental Committee. And it's through these committees and programs that we're really pushing to take advantage of any way that we can help our community transition to a more resilient and sustainable future. And that means taking advantage of the training and the support from the Cornell Cooperative Extension of Dutchess County. And so the Cornell Cooperative, they developed this training program for Energy Navigators. And so this is the reason why we're able to provide this exciting new program to you. So I encourage you to find out more about what we're doing here in Rhinebeck in regards to climate. You can go to climatesmartrhinebeck.org, that's our website, and find out more about what we're doing. Please also do explore all the things that Cornell Cooperative Extension Dutchess County has to offer. There's many, many programs, and they're a wonderful institution. So today, I'm so thrilled to be introducing a new ongoing resource here for you, our local community members. So thank you for your interest, and thank you for coming tonight to hear about Rhinebeck's new Energy Navigator program. So today is just an introductory info session to this ongoing program, which provides trained volunteers who you can access and set up one-on-one consultations with. So it's really one-on-one about you and your home and your own lifestyle. So this info session is really here to introduce you to what those consultations will provide to you, whether you're a homeowner or a renter. And importantly, most importantly, it's our opportunity to introduce you to our amazing volunteers who really have stepped up and done extensive training to be able to offer their services to you. So Andrew Hunter is here tonight, and he's a resident of Rhinebeck Village. He's one of our 2 Energy Navigators, and he serves on the Joint Environmental Committee. He's also a retired professor and energy consultant. And then Carli Fraccaroli is also a resident of Rhinebeck Village, and she serves on our Climate Smart Task Force. And in her day job, she works for the wonderful nonprofit Scenic Hudson. So a warm welcome and thank you to our 2 volunteers. And here's our agenda for tonight. As I said, I'm recording this, so we'll be up online. First, Carli is going to give a presentation that's going to give you some context about the Energy Navigators program and really walk you through some of the things that she and Andrew are trained to consider when they're consulting with you. And then we'll have some time for Q&A, and she'll tell you how to reach out and work with them. But please, for now, everyone mute yourselves, and then we can probably unmute during the Q&A and have some conversation. So with that, I will turn it over to Carli.
All right, thank you, Vanessa. And I just wanted to ask, can everybody hear me and see the slides okay? Or see me potentially too?
Yeah,
looks okay.
Great, okay, thank you. I always want to check before I dive into technology things. So, like Vanessa said in her wonderful intro, thank you very much, Vanessa. My name is Carli Fraccaroli. I am a Village of Rhinebeck resident. I am joined on the call by Andrew Hunter and at least one other Energy Navigator volunteer. And together we've gone through a months-long training program to really help you with your energy efficiency goals. So the goal of this presentation is for you to learn about who we are and how we can help you. So Vanessa really gave you an intro to the Energy Navigator program, so I just wanted to tell you what you can expect from us. So following this presentation, we ask that you either reach out to us via the info@climatesmartrhinebeck.org email address, or I'll give you my personal information at the end of the session if you do want to go forward with having these one-on-one sessions with us. There will also be a post-attendee Google survey form that I'm going to send out into the chat box at the end. So if you could click on that link at the end when we finish up the presentation and the Q&A, give us your feedback on how you liked the presentation today, and also that'll be my way to get your contact information so I can reach out to you. So don't forget to click on that link at the end of the session. So the timeline of things will be after this presentation, shoot me an email, give me a call, maybe not necessarily tonight, but starting tomorrow, if you're really excited, I'm excited to get going, and we'll set up a one-on-one session. And from there, I'll help walk you through the top probably 3 goals that you're looking to achieve to make your home more energy efficient. And then at some point, since we are just volunteers, there will be a point where we may not be able to help you anymore, or there's a point where the information will be more suited to be given to you by a professional, and that it will be a community energy advisor. And for our county, in Dutchess County, I'm assuming most of us are in Dutchess County or on the east side of the river, Colin Adkins will be able to take you on. I'll introduce you to him through an email, and he will take your case and go forward with it and help you get really into the nuance of what you're trying to do. So we're here to equip you with the tools you need to pursue your home energy efficiency goals. And then now I'm going to start getting into some things that we'll go through in our one-on-one sessions. So the ultimate goal of the Energy Navigator program is to get you to achieve a net zero home. So what is a net zero home? It's an efficient home that's powered entirely by renewable energy. So like I said, this is the ultimate best case scenario goal. Not all of us will get there. Probably not many of us will get to that ultimate net zero home, but any action taken on this path toward a net zero home is a positive step towards energy efficiency, saving money, and being sustainable. So we break it out into these 3 categories so that it's, 1, achievable, so that it's not totally overwhelming to look at it as an overarching process, but also it's in this process for a reason. So if you complete energy efficiency first in your current setting, then you'll be able to move on to replacing some of the older technologies that you have in your home, getting more renewable heating, and then ultimately powering your home via solar energy. So coming into this session today, I assume that you may already have some energy efficiency improvements in mind. You may think that your door is really leaky. You may feel the breeze coming through around your door frame, or your roof is old and you need to replace it coming up soon. And I encourage you to keep those in mind, because you'll want to have that information when you go into the energy audit, which we'll discuss in a little bit. But for right now, I encourage you to forget about those for a second and take a step back and think about your general energy use in your home. And a way that you can start to do that is to look at your utility bills. Now, I know that they're super confusing, and it would be easier to just put your bills on auto pay and have Central Hudson deduct the money from your bank account every month, because you don't want to look at all of the different numbers that they have, and it's like 4 pages long. I know, at least mine is. But what we can do for you as Energy Navigators is to start to look at that bill and parse out what exactly you're paying to Central Hudson, if that is your utility company, which I'm assuming in this presentation that since you're in the Rhinebeck area, that Central Hudson will be your utility company. So not only how much you're paying, but how much energy you're using. And once you can find those numbers, once we help you find those numbers, then you can compare that to the average household. So for example, the average household in New York pays about $106 a month for electricity and uses 591 kilowatt hours per month. So if you're paying way more than that, or if you're using way more electricity than the average household, you might start to think, is my home inefficient? Is there something going on? Or you might have an electric car and you just happen to use more electricity to power that car. So you can think about your situation. Don't be deterred by those numbers if your numbers are higher or lower. It's really just to give you an idea of where you fall on the spectrum of use and bills paid. And I did want to note where you get your electricity is also important. That's why we encourage moving to renewable sources, because on your utility bill from Central Hudson, you're seeing energy, but you're not seeing the source that it's coming from. And if you get your energy from Central Hudson, their power plants are powered mostly by natural gas, and that gas is likely from Pennsylvania, and it's likely fracked natural gas. And I say this so you can understand and start thinking about the implications of your household energy use, not only on your life and your finances, but within the greater context of the natural environment. So one of the factors that influences your home energy use is the physical characteristics of your home, especially the quality of the materials that keep the heat in and the cold out. So the quality of your building envelope, or the separation between those heated and unheated spaces, is the most important factor affecting space heating in buildings. So as you can see in this diagram here, your building envelope is that yellow line, and that's separating the unheated attic and porch areas from the main house. And there are two components that make up the building envelope, and those are insulation and an air barrier. So you can start thinking about insulation like a wool sweater on a cold day. So if you put on a wool sweater, that's going to trap a lot of your body heat in and keep you warm. But if a cold breeze comes by, you're going to get a chill because the fibers in that wool sweater are pretty spaced out. There's a lot of room for air to get in, and that's going to wash that heat away. So you can think about an air barrier over top of that insulation like a windbreaker. When you put a windbreaker on, it's not necessarily going to keep you warm by itself, but over a wool sweater, it's going to keep that air from getting in, and the two components together work together to make a sealed building envelope. And to understand how that's working in your home, to see if your air barrier is efficient, to see if your insulation is up to date, you're going to want to get a home energy audit. And I'm encouraging all of you today to take advantage of this free audit that is available to all homeowners in New York State, and there are also programs for renters. And I say free because you don't have to pay up front for it. You can get it just for no cost, but on your utility bill, there is a little fee that they're taking every month that's going towards programs like these. So if you're not taking advantage of it, you're paying for it. So we encourage you to take advantage of it. And then I put here within the audit, there will be a blower door test that they probably do to test the air barrier. And then they'll also look at your insulation, and those numbers there are just standards that new buildings have to be up to code to. So I'm not going to go into that, but it's just something to think about if you want to write it down. I'm also going to send the slides out later so you can take a look at this again. And then at the end of the audit, you'll get an auditor's report, and that'll tell you what is going on in your home, what could be more efficient, what needs to be sealed up, what needs to be updated. And we as Energy Navigators can help you parse through that and start to understand what you can do. So next, we'll go over the programs that are available to help you get an energy audit and get the related work that they provide done. But I just want to note that towards the end of the session, we'll also talk about DIY improvements that you can do. So you're not waiting for this audit to start making these changes. You can do things now to make yourself more comfortable in your own home. And we'll get into that in a little bit. So there are a variety of different programs that you can access based on your income level to help you access the programs and pay for them to make your home more efficient. And the three brackets are and market rate income. So the low income pathway, you can either choose to apply for the Weatherization Assistance Program or the Empower New York program, which also goes hand in hand with Solar for All. So we can help you identify what bracket you fall into, and then we can walk you through the applications for these programs. So the Weatherization Assistance Program assists low-income families and individuals by reducing their heating and cooling costs and improving the safety of their homes through a variety of different energy efficiency measures. Too many to get into today. And Empower New York pretty much does the same thing, although it does come with that Solar for All, which I'll discuss in a little bit. So because they are so similar and there are just nuanced differences between the two, we can help you through that to determine which one that you're eligible for and which one that you can apply to. For moderate income residents of New York, there is the Assisted Home Performance with Energy Star program, and that provides those who qualify with a discount covering 50% of the cost of eligible energy efficiency improvements, up to $5,000 per project for a single family home. So that's pretty significant. It can also cover water heaters, air conditioning, and other improvements or replacements. And then finally, for market rate individuals, you can get that free residential energy audit, but you're likely going to have to pay the full amount of the cost for the energy efficiency improvements that you want to make. But there are financing programs available, so you may not have to take on the full cost of it, although you can't access these other programs for the low and moderate income folks. So the #1 energy user in New York is heating. It actually uses 56% of household energy. And I'm sure many of us use different methods of heating. For example, I have electric baseboard heat, and they are different in their own ways. Some are renewable, or some are not renewable. They don't use renewable energy sources. Others are not efficient. Or you could have a heating system that is not renewable nor efficient, which is what I have. And with that in mind, we recommend 2 different heating systems that are both affordable and efficient. They support the local economy and they avoid fossil fuels. And that's those 2 systems that you see here in the photos, which are biomass systems, which an example is in the photo on the right, and heat pumps, which is in the photo on the left. And I'm not going to get into the differences between the 2 today, but if you look up biomass systems and heat pumps online, or if you would like us to help you start thinking about them, that's something that we can do in the one-on-ones. And there are incentives to replace your old inefficient heating with biomass systems and heat pumps. For example, NYSERDA has a Renewable Heat New York program, which offers rebates and cost offsets. There are also utility rebates that you can access. So Central Hudson may give you a rebate on purchasing a new renewable heating system. And there are more incentives that we can look at in our one-on-one. When choosing a heating system, you should also consider, for home and water heating, your current situation. What is the size of your space? Do you have a big yard where you can put a heating system in, or do you have a roof that will be able to support something? And you can also think about if you have upcoming or impending home energy or home improvements or renovations, not just for energy, but for anything. If you have an improvement that you're going to do to your home, you might want to consider wrapping one of these other improvements, energy improvements in, because that'll save you money so you don't have to do something twice. So the tip is to bundle. And just in general, the annual cost of heating with renewable systems is less than the cost to those using fossil fuels or electric resistance heat to heat their homes. So although, just to keep in mind, for not only heating, but for all of these upgrades to your home that you would do to be more energy efficient, they are probably going to be a little bit higher cost up front, but they will save you money over time for sure. And another way to understand what kind of heating system you might need for your home is to, again, get that audit, get that home energy audit. And you will have to ask the contractor probably to get a heat load analysis, which is an analysis of how much energy per hour is required to keep your home at a desired temperature, because the normal energy audit may not include the heat load analysis, so you might have to pay a little more for it as well. But if you are looking to upgrade your heating system, that's something you might want to consider when getting that audit done. There is a program for low-income individuals to help them pay for heating costs, along with other help for their energy bills, and that's the Home Energy Assistance Program. So if you do identify as a low-income individual, we can help you apply for that program. And then finally, the DIY actions. What can I do tomorrow so I'm not freezing in my home? You could get a programmable thermostat to save yourself some money. You can lower it during the day when you're not home, or if you're not home. I know a lot of us are home right now due to COVID, working from home. But if you're not home, set it at a lower temperature and then have your thermostat kick back up when you're planning on being back home. You can also replace your air filters so your current machines aren't working as hard. And then you can seal the ductwork from your heating system so that you're making it the most efficient it possibly can be, and you're not heating the air around it on the way to where you want the heat to actually be. So the number 2 energy user in New York is electricity. 26% of New York household energy use goes towards electricity. And like I said a little bit earlier in the presentation, the New York State average consumption per household is about 591 kilowatt hours per month, and that equates to about $106 a month. So if you compare these numbers to the ones that you see on your utility bills, you can see, is there something unusual going on? Do you have relatively high consumption? For example, I went on vacation for a month and I got my utility bill, and it was just as high as when I was home for the entire month. So just knowing that, just taking a look at my utility bill, I was able to see I'm using way more electricity than I need to be. And I was able to fly that red flag and figure out what was going on. Heating with electricity, I know we talked a lot about heating, but heating specifically with electricity is the biggest user of electricity in New York homes. And that's because it's low efficiency and it has a high cost per BTU. So with that in mind, we encourage you to consider other heating options. And if it's not possible, if you're a renter like I am and you're stuck with electric baseboard heat, it just makes that building enclosure of your home that much more important. So the heat that is generated with electricity is kept in your home and doesn't escape. And among the top 5 energy users in the US, including water and space heating, is actually lighting, surprisingly. And I was surprised to learn that because I know that I've been told to turn the light off when I leave the room, but it doesn't really seem like that big of a deal. But in fact, the average single family home in the United States could reduce their energy used for lighting by 80% and save almost $33 a month if they switched all their incandescent bulbs to LEDs. So the incandescent bulb is the one you see on the left, top left, and then there's a CFL in the middle, which is kind of a bridge between the two in terms of efficiency. And then the LED bulb is the one on the right. So changing to LED bulbs in all of your lighting fixtures actually does make a significant difference. You could buy a couple coffees with $33, depending on what coffee shop you go to. And then there are other appliances that you can start to think about for electricity consumption, including refrigerators, your laundry machines, your home cooling, electronics, and also phantom loads, which is when your electronics are off, but they're still drawing power from your energy source. So I'm not going to get into those today. We don't have time, but those are things that we can go through when we do our one-on-ones. We can walk through each of these together and figure out if there's a lot of energy use in one of these categories. And again, to really understand how much energy and electricity you're using, we encourage you to get that audit. You'll be able to find out if you're using quite a lot or not too much. And there are incentives for reducing your energy consumption, including a usage monitor. So that a usage monitor will give you the cost and how much you're using of electricity per hour, so you can start to understand where it fluctuates. There are also energy demand response incentives, and there are time of use rates that the utility company could offer. So Central Hudson may offer a reduced rate on electric delivery charges when you use electricity during off-peak hours. So if you run your laundry machine at night versus during the day, you'll pay a little bit less for that, but you'll pay more for when you use electricity during the peak hours that the utility company sets for you. And then finally, you can also purchase green or renewable energy through an ESCO. And I'm not going to explain what that is today, but just starting to think about where you get your electricity. An ESCO may be one way to do it, but another way is to power your home and your electronics completely with solar. So this is that final stop on the net zero train. And there are 3 ways that you can go solar. One is to have on-site solar. So you purchase a solar array that you house on your property. There's also a community solar purchase. So where you purchase and you own solar panels, but they're housed in an array on a solar farm somewhere else in the region, so not on your property. And the price per watt of a community solar purchase is usually lower than roof mount systems, but you may not be able to apply for or be eligible for all of the incentives that you could access if you have on-site solar. So community solar purchase could end up being more expensive than on-site solar. So just something to keep in mind that we can go into if you're interested in looking into solar. And then finally, there is a community solar subscription that you can do. And this is more accessible to low and moderate income people, but anybody can access a community solar subscription. And this is when you purchase credits from a solar farm monthly. So you don't own anything, you're just purchasing credits from them. And many companies that offer community solar subscriptions, they do offer guaranteed discounts on electricity prices as compared to the rates that you would get from Central Hudson, for example, or another utility company. And on average, that could be a discount of 5 to 10%. So if you look at the little diagram that I've put on the right here, you get your utility bill, and then you get your subscription solar bill, and then it calculates out to a total savings of about $5 once you apply those subscription credits. But these 2 bills, I will note, are going to be going away soon, and they're going to be consolidated into one comprehensive bill if you have subscription solar. So that'll make it a lot easier to understand how much exactly you're paying. So I just have this here so you can understand how much you'd be saving, but you're not going to have 2 separate bills starting pretty soon here if you do get a community solar subscription. There is a utility bill assistance program for low-income New York residents, which is called Solar for All. And that gives low-income residents a free subscription to a community solar farm. And they'll get about $5 to $15 in energy credits per month. So again, if you are a low-income individual, you can come to me or another Energy Navigator and we'll help you apply for that program. And that's a program that goes hand in hand with that Empower New York program that I spoke about earlier. And there are also many incentives and rebates that you can get to offset your costs. So there's a NYSERDA rebate that they will give you. There are also federal tax credits and New York State tax credits if you do purchase solar. And as an Energy Navigator, I can help you get all of the tax credits and rebates that you possibly can. So this is what I would provide to you if we do our one-on-one. It's a walkthrough checklist, and it's really comprehensive. It's quite long. I encourage you to take a look at it and go through your home and identify the things on this list, and then prioritize the top 3 things that are important to you to improve upon in your home in terms of energy efficiency. And then we will go forward in trying to tackle those. So I look forward to working with you. I'm sure Andrew does as well, and other energy navigators in the region. That's the end of the meat of the presentation. So please contact me if you would like any more information. I know we had to go pretty quickly through this. It's a lot of information, and I hope I didn't overwhelm you. But if I did, you can always ask me for clarification. My phone number is right there. You can also email our info@climatesmartrhinebeck.org email address to set up a one-on-one. And again, I'm going to be posting the Google form in the chat. So please take a second to fill that out with your contact information or feedback on the presentation today. And now we will move into the Q&A. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carli. That was wonderful. So folks, does anybody have any questions? Feel free to unmute. I think we're a small enough group.
So the water checklist is on your website?
I can post it on the website. I don't believe it's up yet, but that would be something that I could send to you in an email, no problem.
Oh, I had a question.
Sure.
For folks who say if your audio isn't working, you're welcome to post in the chat and then I can read that aloud. Carli, are you going to be doing in person with masks, consultations, or would it be like a Zoom or something?
Yeah, so we actually can't do any in-person things right now, just to be completely safe, unfortunately. So it would have to be something, if you wanted to put me on Zoom on your phone and walk me around your house, we could do that, or we could do a phone consultation. It just depends on what everybody is comfortable with.
Carli, this is Michael Ferlenza. The energy audit, is that something you do, or you said contractors with NYSERDA does that?
Yes, so we can help you get set up to get that audit, but that's something that the contractors would do.
So that contractor is a professional person, or is it a government person?
I believe it's a professional, so they'll contract with local contractors, and the local contractors who are trained to do these audits will come in and do it for them.
Yeah, I'm just worried about it turns into a sales pitch, but they have an agenda or a program they have to follow.
So that's a good question, and from my understanding, their only job is to give you a report at the end that's identifying what you can do in your home. Now, I know these contractors, some of the contractors may only do the audit, some of them may also do the improvements that they're talking about doing. So it is a possibility, I'm sure. But that's something I think it's also up to your discretion what contractor you might want to use if you have some in mind. So
Okay.
that could help with that.
That might also be a nice way to leverage Carli and Andrew to maybe get another person's eyeballs on that energy audit, just to get like a unbiased opinion.
That's right, yeah.
We have a question from Liz. She says, could you share now what the income guidelines are so people know which bracket they fall into, or is that something that you could speak about one-on-one?
I think that's something that I can speak about one-on-one. There are defined brackets, but just due to the sensitivity of it, I think it would be more useful for us to talk about it one-on-one.
Okay. And from Leola, she wants to know, are your Energy Navigator services available to businesses in Rhinebeck, or is it just residential?
We were trained to do residential home energy audits. Now, if a business has an issue that is similar to an issue that would be in a home, I don't see why.
She said their business is located in a historic home in the village, so.
So yeah, that would be, I don't see an issue with that at all.
Okay.
It just depends on how the business is going to pay for things as well. That might change some things in terms of the incentives.
Right.
If you want a little feedback on an energy audit of a number of years ago, maybe 6 or 7 years ago, maybe not quite that much, I went to a talk at the Star Library, and one of the owners of, is it Malcarney or Malcarn Construction on East Market Street? He was the presenter. So I signed on, and they came and did an audit. Didn't cost me anything. You know, check the insulation in my walls by, I think more or less by knocking on the walls. And I knew that my parents had put insulation in the house when they bought it in the late 70s. And their comment to me was, yes, and it's all settled, you know, down in the bottom now. They did the air leakage check by putting the thing in the doorway and measuring where your leaks are. So they did a lot of sealing with caulking around windows and doorways. And then in the end, I did have insulation done and spray foam in my basement level between the exterior walls. And they blew in, I think it was paper insulation in the attic area. So that was all analyzed and done, and got a lot of help through the NYSERDA program. And I think I ended up paying like for half of it or less than half. And New York paid for the rest. So I was very happy with it. And it certainly has helped with keeping my house cooler in the summer and warmer in the winter, less drafty, etc. So
Did you see your energy bills go down, Connie?
yes, yes. I can't say how much, but you know, definitely it was efficient. Now I use oil, you know, I have oil heat. And my hot water is through my furnace, so that sometimes is something I've thought about, but it's a major expense. But I certainly was happy having the insulation projects done.
Great.
That's really helpful feedback. Thank you.
And now what I'm looking at is solar, but as I said, I've had solar people talk to me, and then they'll say, oh, your roof's over 20 years old. We'd probably want a new roof on the house before we do it, and that's expensive. So my thought was to buy into a solar. So that's probably what I'm interested in. How do you do that? Is it practical, worthwhile, etc.?
Right. And something you said reminds me, due to COVID, they're not doing blower door tests right now in multifamily units. So if you have a single family home, that's one thing. But if you live in an apartment complex or a duplex, they're not going to be doing that for you until things clear up again. So that's just something I forgot to mention.
Too bad.
Hi, this is Joel Herm. Sorry, I joined late. Who do I call to get the blower door test done, and how much does it cost?
That would be part of the residential energy audit. So that's something that would be done via a contractor, and
okay.
It will likely be free. It'll be a free residential home energy audit. Now, you need to make sure that the contractor has the blower door test as a part of their energy audit. So that's something to consider.
Okay.
I heard a figure of $300 for the pressure test.
Okay, thanks.
Do you know if Cornell Cooperative Extension, or maybe it was NYSERDA, are they still have a program where you sign up for your energy audit through that program, and then they refer you to local contractors who will do it for free? Is that how people go about finding a local contractor who will do this energy audit?
I'm not sure I can answer that question. I'm not sure about that one.
I asked Colin for that information, and I got a list of contractors, but they're all over Dutchess County and down to Westchester. So you have to pick out of that list something which is reasonably close.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So maybe Joel, you could contact Andrew here
Okay,
and he can share with you the list.
great.
Thanks, Andrew. That's helpful.
Any other questions?
I'm gonna stop screen sharing now so that I can.
Oh
put
yeah,
the-
share the Google link
Yes.
survey. So again, folks, if you want to get in touch with Carli or Andrew, email info@climatesmartrhinebeck.org and or fill out the form that we're going to post into the chat right now. And we'd really appreciate your feedback. Thank you so much for coming.
Great.
Thank you very much.
I'm gonna put this link in here now. There we go.
Great.
Thank you so
And,
much, everyone.
One last question.
Sure.
Since I didn't see the beginning, is this going to be recorded? Will there be a recording?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Thanks.
Thank
Okay,
you, everyone.
thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you.